Hello, this is me Arsalan and you're watching Growth Mindset. In next upcoming 30 minutes, you will learn that how we can create dynamic reporting through a dashboard in Excel. And for that, we're not going to use any VBA code. So let's move towards a tutorial and see how it will all work. Today we will make sales dashboard, and for that we're not going to use VBA. So let's begin our journey. First, we will be creating different tables. I will convert this data set by pressing Ctrl T into a table. My table has headers. It is check marked. I press OK, and now we have this table. Now we are going to make pivot tables out of this table. If you want to watch the video on how the pivot table works, then you can click on the I button above. And I've made many different videos on pivot tables, so you can have a look at this by clicking the I button above now. For creating a pivot table, we are going to go in Insert tab, click on the pivot table, and here first we have to select a table or a range. Our table range has already been selected, and now it is giving further option of either we want to make the pivot table on new worksheet or existing worksheet. I click on existing worksheet, click on the location, then I go in the dashboard tables, another sheet of mine, and here I click over here in cell A3 and press OK. Now here it gives me the area where my pivot table is going to be drawn. So this is going to be my first table, so I just name it summary table. For this table, I will keep order date in rows. I don't want quarters, so I just click and drag these out, and I will keep revenue in values as well as profit in values. I want the data for latest 2 years, so I will just filter out the remaining and keep only year 2023 and 2024. Select all this, go in Home tab, put a comma. Once in pivot table, I will go in Analyze, and here in Options, I will uncheck the autofit column widths on update so it doesn't autofit. And I will be doing the same for all of the tables. I press OK. So this is my first table. I name it Summary Table. Again, I go in Analyze, and here I name it Summary Table. Now I will be drawing another table, table 1. For that, I will again go in over here where my data set is, Insert tab, go in Pivot Table, Existing Worksheet, click on Location, then go in the Dashboard table where I want my pivot table to be, click OK, and here I can make another table. For my table 1, I will keep the region in the rows and years in the columns. I want in the last 2 years, so I will just filter out the remaining and keep year 2023 and 2024. Press OK, and here I have these 2 years. In values, I will keep the revenue. Click over here, go again in Home tab and repeat the same procedure for formatting it. I don't want this grand total column, so I go in the Design tab, and here in Grand Totals, I will just click on for columns only, and it removes the grand total column. Once clicking on the countries, I will right click and filter by top 10. I just want top 5, press OK. And at the same time, I want it sorted highest to lowest in descending order. Right click over here, sort largest to smallest. So now we have the revenues region wise. Now I want the same table, but it is going to be country wise. So I just select all of this table and paste it over here. Now instead of the regions, I want countries over here. So I uncheck this, check mark this, and I can see that it has a whole lot of countries appearing over here. So again, I will just name it table 2 over here, right click over here and filter top 10. I want the top 5, press OK, and at the same time clicking over here, right click, sort in descending from largest to smallest, and here I have table 2. So we're going to name both of the tables, go in, Analyze. This is table 1 for me. I press enter. This is table 2 for me. It is important to name the tables so to avoid confusion at later stages. Now I will be building table 3 and 4 where the data is going to be same, but instead of revenues I want the profit, so just copy and paste it down over here. While clicking on the table 3, just uncheck the revenue, I check mark the profit in the values, and for table 4 again uncheck mark the revenue, bring in the profits. For countries, just filter out top 10. I want top 5, press OK, and I will sort these in largest to smallest. And here also I want top 5, so we can repeat the process. So this is table 3, again naming the tables. Now again I just copy this table for making another table which we will be using for charting. This is table 5. I just remove all of the fields from here, bring in the order date in rows. I want years and quarters, so I remove the order date, and in values I will be bringing units sold and revenue. While clicking on the year, we can see that it has an icon over here which shows a plus. It can expand and collapse. I right click over here on the mouse, go in the expand and collapse option and expand entire field. I will be bringing in a few more years to make our chart more descriptive, so I just click over here for year 2021 and 2022. For making a chart, a tabular format is more applicable, so I will go in the design tab, and here I will click on report layout, and I will go in show in tabular form. Now I have the data set in the tabular form. Sometimes the pivot table can be inflexible, so for creating a chart I will be bringing the data outside the pivot table. I don't want the sum of units sold column, so I will delete all this. Select all sum of revenue, press Ctrl X and bring the data in column H. Now I want to calculate average price, so we are going to divide the sum of revenue with the sum of units sold and press enter and paste it down. Now we have our data on which we want to make a chart. I press Ctrl A while being in the data set and it selects all of the data. Now I go in insert tab, and here in the column charts I will select one of the column charts. Once in column chart I will click on design and here change chart type. Then I will click on combo over here and select clustered column line on secondary axis and press OK. Now I will be performing some formatting on the chart. I can name this chart as sum of revenue and average prices. Now I double click on the bars. It gives me an option to format it. Now once we have done all of these settings, we're going to move on towards our last table. But moving on to my last table, before we move on to creating the dashboard, I just copy once again the pivot table number 5 and press enter, and this is my 6th table, and here I will remove years, quarters, bring in country and just keep sum of revenue over here. Click over here, I want top 10, right click, filter, and then select top 10, press OK, and while clicking on the values, right click, sort largest to smallest, and here again I will be just bringing out this data, country name, sum of revenue,
copying and pasting it. Press Ctrl A to select this piece of data. Go in Insert. In bar charts, I select the bar chart over here. Now I click on the bars, double click. It gives me an option. I just click once again to select all of the bars. In fill, I go with the gradient fill. Now it gives me the option that I've already selected, so I'm going to go with it. I'm fine with this option. I'm not going to make much of the changes. Click on the chart area, press Ctrl B to bold all of these. Now my charts are done, my tables are done. So let me see that whether I have named these tables or not. Table 5, table 6. For making the dashboard dynamic, we are going to add the slices on this sheet and later on move on to the dashboard sheet. So how we can add slicers? I click on the summary table. That is my first table, and here I want the sales channel as a slicer. I right click over here, add as a slicer, and here I have the slicer for this. For table 1 and table 2 also, I want this as a slicer. So how I can add this slicer, which I've selected already over here, as a slicer for this table 1 and table 2. For example, if I click on offline or online, so you can see that the figures are changing in summary table, but they are not changing in the table 1 and table 2. So how we can make the connection for that? For that, while I'm on the table 1, I will go in the analyze, and here it gives me an option of filter connections. I click on filter connection, check mark this, press OK. And here again, once I'm on table 2, I go in analyze, filter connections, and I make a connection. And now we can see that once I am selecting, so all three tables, that is the summary table, table 1 and table 2, are changing simultaneously. For table 3 and 4, while being in table 3, I will select the table 3, any cell of that, and I will go in the order priority, right click, add as a slicer. This time I've added the order priority as a slicer over here for table 3 and 4. Here again, if I click on this, we can see that only table 3 is being affected, but table 4 is not being affected. So again, we're going to make a connection. I click over here on table 4, go in analyze, click on filter connections, and this is order priority. So I will check mark this, press OK, and now if I'm going to select any of these, so it is changing dynamically. For table 5 and 6, I just make a little bit of space over here, insert some of the rows. Here I click over here and I will go for the item type option. I right click, add as a slicer, bring it over here. So I will be using this as a slicer, and I can see once I click over here, so the graph is changing accordingly. We don't have the connection for the table 6 yet. So once I click on this, again go in analyze, filter connections, and this time it is item type. I will check mark item type, press OK. And now we can see that if we are going to select any of the option over here, so these bars are also being affected accordingly. One last thing, we can do that while we are in dashboard, but for making the task much easier, we are going to make as many changes in our dashboard table sheet, and then it will be just copying and pasting into the dashboard sheet. So I want these in one line. I will go in the slicer tool options and I will go for the 2 columns. So now it is appearing in 2 columns. For this also, I want to have 4 columns. This slicer has 12 options and I want in single row, so I will just write 12 in columns, press OK, extend it a bit. So we are done with all our slicers and settings and tables and charting. Now moving on to our dashboard sheet. So we're going to add one sheet. We name it sales dashboard. We go in view, and here we remove the grid lines and we begin our process of creating the sales dashboard. I will create a header where I will be placing the name of my dashboard and the logo. So I will just make it a little bit broader, and here in column A I will place my logo. I select the row A1 and go in cell formatting, right click, format cell, fill effects, and then I will be selecting black and second color as gray. Press OK and then another OK, and here I have the first row. Now I will be bringing in my logo, so I will go in Insert, Pictures, and I will select my logo from here for the growth mindset, insert it, go in the format, and here I will crop it, crop to shape, and I will select the circle, and here we have our logo. Just centering it a bit. Now once again I will go in Insert, select the text box, make a text box for the heading over here. Font size I will select 32, Sales Analysis, Dashboard, extend it a bit, select all of this, go in Home tab, and I will select white color. Once clicked on this text box, I will go in Format, Shape Fill, Remove Fill, and then Shape Outline, no outline. So this is the first heading. I will select once again this, press Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and I've made a copy of it, and just click on both of the text boxes by pressing Ctrl, go in Format, Align, and center them. Here I will write Growth Mindset with Salon, reduce the font size a bit, and changing the font, changing the color, making it bold. So here we have our heading. Next we will be building in tables over here. Here I will write the headings, go in Home tab, merge this, write Revenue, and just copy and paste it, leave one column, paste it again, and here it is going to be City. Just copying this, leaving one column in between, pressing Ctrl V for pasting it, and then another column, and then pasting it. So the first two tables will be related to revenue, the third and fourth will be related to profits. So just copy and change it to profit. The first table is the table 1. I will go in Dashboard table and start bringing in the data from here. This first table is table 1 in Dashboard tables. So I just click and press Enter, and we have the first cell. I remove the fixing of the cell, copy and paste it like this, and I have the figures now. The year-on-year column is not over there, so we are going to make the year-on-year column from here, column D divided by column C minus 1. Press Enter, copy and paste it down, formatting the numbers. And this is percentage column, so we again go in Home and press on the percentage style. So I name the grand total to total. Now I will repeat the same process for the second, third and fourth tables. We have the data from the first 4 tables, and here we can see that we have a problem over here, which we are going to solve later. Next, we will be bringing our graphs over here. For that, I will go in Insert, a little bit of styling. I will select the shapes, rounded rectangle. Go in Format, Shape Fill is going to be black. And then I am just going to click on it, press Ctrl C and Ctrl V for making a copy of it, go in Format once again, Shape Fill, and here I will be selecting the lighter version. I want to send this first lighter version backward, so while clicking the drawing tools in format, I will send it backward. I press Ctrl and select both of the text boxes. And while pressing Ctrl, I'll just make a copy of it. On the top of these, I will be placing my graphs. I go in dashboard tables once again, and here I can see that I have these two graphs appearing over here. I click over here, press Ctrl C, go in dashboard, click on the text box, press Ctrl V, and resize it a bit to bring it within these text boxes. Now for the second graph, I will repeat the same process. I click on this text box and go in the dashboard table, click over here, press Ctrl C, come back and paste it in this text box, readjusting it a bit. Now I will be picking up the data from my summary table. Again, we go in the Insert, in Shapes, and I'll select the rounded rectangle. I'll make the first rounded rectangle over here. Go in the Format, change in the height and width. Go once again in Format, Shape Fill is going to be black, which goes with our theme, and Shape Outline will be this color, and I want the weight of the line to be 1.5 points. Just copy it and press Ctrl V 2 times to make 3 copies of it. I will select all these 3, go in Format, Align, and I will center align it. Align center, so now these are aligned centrally. In the first text box, I will be inserting another text box, and this first one tells me latest year sales. Make it a little bit more prominent by increasing the font size, folding it a bit, and center aligning it. Now go in the Format, Shape Fill is going to be black, Shape Outline, no outline, and the text is going to be white. Now we want to have the latest year sales, so while clicking on this text box, I press equals to in the formula bar, go in the dashboard, and I will be picking up the data from my first summary table. Latest year sales was this. I press enter, go in Format, and text fill is going to be white. And now I go in Home, I will center align it and then bottom align it, increase the font size to make it more prominent. Now I will repeat the same process for other 2 text boxes also. This is the latest year profit. And in my last tab, I want year-on-year profit percentage. I go in dashboard. I haven't made year-on-year profit percentage, so I just make it right now. Go in Home tab, give it a percentage, make it 2 decimal place. Go back in dashboard, just copy this text box, place it over here. Year-on-year profit percentage, click on the text box, write equals to, go back in dashboard tables, click over here in this cell and press enter. Go in the Format, text fill, it's going to be white. Go in Home, bottom align, center align, make the font to 24 so it pops out. Bring it a little bit down to have more symmetry. Now we can see that our dashboard formatting has been done. Now I will be adding the slices over here, so it will make our reports more dynamic. I will just go in my dashboard tables and click over here, press Ctrl C and come back in dashboard. And now I will press Ctrl V. So here I can see if I click on any one of these are changing dynamically. This slicer is related to table 1, 2 and all of these tabs over here. So once we change it, it is changing the figures dynamically. Now, likewise, we are going to bring in the other slicers as well. Just Ctrl C for copying the slicer from there and Ctrl V over here. We will be doing a little bit of formatting later on, so we want to see that whether it is working properly or not. So we can see that these two tables are now attached to this slicer. And for these two graphs, we again go over here and we can see that these two graphs are linked with this slicer. I click over here, press Ctrl C and bring it on my dashboard, Ctrl V. So now we have all of the slicers on the dashboard. What I will be doing is that I will be removing the headers. Once I've clicked on any one of the slicer, I will go in the options, slicer settings, and I will uncheck the display header, press OK, and it has removed the header. So just reducing the height a bit and increasing the width and placing it more appropriately like this over here. I will repeat the same process with other two slicers as well. Now while clicking on any one of the slicer, I will go in options and here I will select this option so I can know that which one of the option is being selected. And I will do the same for the remaining slicers. So now we have our complete dashboard where we can make different selections and we can see that we have the changing data over here, and the graphs are changing accordingly as we click on any one of these slicers. One thing to note is over here that we discussed earlier also that we have the div error appearing over here because this is being divided by this cell and this cell is 0, so it is giving the division error. Now for dealing with this problem, what I can do over here is I can just go in these percentage columns, select F2 to enter the cell, and by pressing Shift I select the formula, press Ctrl X to cut it, and I will introduce if error formula. And now what I cut, I will paste it by pressing Ctrl V. And now if there is going to be an error, so I will put 2 inverted commas and it is going to be a blank cell. I close it and I press enter and I just copy and paste it down and again copy and paste it to all of my year-on-year percentage column. So now here we can see that previously it was appearing div error over here and now it is appearing as a blank cell. One more thing to notice, if you want to add the up and down arrows for these year-on-year percentage, up arrow for positive figure and down arrow for the negative figure, and up arrow in green color and down arrow in red color. So how we can do that? I will just go in one of the cells, right click, format cells, numbers, custom, 0% is going to be the positive figure. Then I will put a semicolon and minus 0% for the negative figure. And what if I want to just give the positive and the negative figures a color? So I will just put square brackets. I will write color 10, close the square bracket, gives one space, and after the semicolon it is going to be the negative figure. So I will just start the square brackets, write red, close the square bracket and press OK. I will go in home, press the format painter, and I will format all of these figures as in the first cell. But here we can see that we don't have up and down arrows. So how we can do that? I will go in insert in symbols, and here we have an up arrow, insert it, down arrow, insert it, close it, press enter, and now I will just go in the cell and copy these and delete it. And here once again I will go in the format cell, right click on the mouse, format cell, and here I'm going to place after the color the up arrow, and after the red color I will place a down arrow, press OK, and now we can see that we have an arrow appearing over here. Go in the home tab, click the format painter and select all of the cells beneath. Now I will just select the format painter and format all of these. So now we have our complete version of a dashboard. We can see that we have all of these figures changing dynamically. We made the pivot tables in the beginning, and then we moved those pivot tables and the charts on dashboard.
Well, that's it. If you've liked, then make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, share, and give your comments down below in the comment section. Your comments act as a navigation tool, so make sure that you guide me through your comments. Thanks for joining me. See you soon. Take care and bye-bye.